Most NPC advice out there focuses on voice, personality, and quirks. But after many years of playing this game, I realized that this is actually backwards and leads to NPCs everyone forgets and to games that all feel the same. So today, I'm gonna fix this by giving you a 5-steps method to create amazing NPCs, and to make it easier to remember, I will use it on a very basic character and transform it into one worthy of your table. But just before we dive into this method, I just need to clarify. What do I mean when I say we build NPCs backwards? Well, I think instinctively we start on the outside. We all have lists of names and a few default voices, sometimes a short backstory. And because our players love to surprise us, we use them. Put them in front of the players and hope it does the trick. And sure, sometimes it does and it's all you need. But most of the time, 3 sessions later, players can't really remember their name. And my take is that it's not because you suck as a DM, but because you built it in the wrong direction. I think we're so scared of hurting player agency that a lot of us default to superficial NPCs to avoid railroading, even when building the more important ones. And when we don't, we tend to treat NPCs like we're writing a character in a novel. And that's a problem, because those need to be interesting in themselves. But an NPC at a D&D table doesn't. They need to do something to your players. This is very different, and it's what separates a character and a force, which creates pressure, which then leads to memorable moments at the table. Okay, so let's build this NPC. It will make it really easy to understand. Let's start with the basic version and fix everything that's wrong with it as we go. I'm gonna call him Mevard. I think Mevard is a middle-aged human man. He's a little chubby and he's a merchant. He sells cloth and has been in town for about 6 weeks. Right now, he's pretty much a prop with a job, a name, and let's be honest, absolutely no reason whatsoever for everyone to remember him. But that's gonna change very soon. So the first thing our NPC is missing is a want. It has a job, but this is a game, so we need a want to put the NPC in motion. If we just give the NPC a job, it will only react when the players show up. But a want means the NPC will have a reason to do stuff, which will make it feel very different. An NPC without a want doesn't really feel wrong or unbelievable, but just kinda empty, which makes them easy to forget. Right now, Mevard has a job. We said he sells cloth, but if we stop there, even if we decide to make him a quest giver, here's what's gonna happen. The players will walk into his shop, buy a blanket or something, and he will tell them that there has been bandit activity on the road, which is bad for business, and ask them to handle it for some gold. The players will go kill the bandits, level up, and get paid, and then they will never think about him again. Mevard will have played his part, and there will be nothing left to think about. So let's give him a want and see what happens. I think Mevard wants to recover a journal. His younger brother was a novice in the clergy of the world's god of light, and he wrote down everything he saw in the monastery. Unfortunately, the brother died, and the journal disappeared. And Mevard has been looking for 2 years and chose to settle in this specific town because he thinks it might get him closer to the journal. Now the NPC feels completely different. The dude is still a merchant. He looks the same and everything, but now every conversation can have this subtle undertone, and the same bandit quest can become a lot deeper. Maybe he thinks the bandits could know something, have the journal. We have room to grow. By the way, if you've ever struggled with NPCs before and find this video helpful, please hit the like button with your most powerful ability to help it reach more people and create better games for everyone. But a want is not enough. A lot of DMs stop there, and it's a shame because if you're not careful, a want quickly starts to feel a bit like a shopping list. It tells you what someone is doing, but the why is often still a bit fragile. If we want the want to trigger some kind of story, we need more emotional weight. If the want is a bit too clean or logical, the players will just solve that and move on, which is not great story material. But if we stack a wound on the want, it becomes much harder to solve the NPC, because the want stops being just about the thing they're chasing and it starts to be about trying to prove something or become someone. And this opens up a lot of roleplay opportunities, which will make it easy for players to feel that depth. The wound acts as some kind of texture generator. So how does it work with Mevard? So far, he just wanted the journal because it belonged to his brother, which, yeah, of course. But if we stop there, players will find the journal, give it to him, get the gold, and that's it. Again, he'll be forgotten soon. So let's get him his very own wound. I think Mevard was on the road with the journal when bandits attacked, and he got scared and fled, leaving everything behind. His brother was already dead, so it's not like he sacrificed him or anything, but the journal was the one thing he had left, and he didn't try to fight for it. I like this as a wound. It's a mix of shame and regret, and it changes the wound quite a lot. Now he's not just trying to get some journal back, but trying to forget that coward version of himself. And players can't solve him anymore, because giving him the journal doesn't really close the wound. Our little NPC needs to see himself act, and in the end, the journal is just a symbol he's decided would prove he's capable. It's quite irrational, and therefore human, and more interesting to play out at the table. But there is one very important thing you need to know about wounds, which will have an impact on how you use them. They don't have to be visible. Players might never take the conversation in a direction that would make them learn that Mevard ran, but you, as the DM, know, and that will color how you respond to the player's actions. Say the players do decide to help out. Maybe he'll be a little too grateful and still feel odd because deep down he knows he needs the help because he failed. This is how you know that your wound is a premium wound. Alright, so this is cool, but if we want this NPC to truly be one of those players talk about for years, we're still missing something. I think the best NPCs are never fully legible. What do I mean? Well, I think there is always something that doesn't 100% add up. And of course, I say this and you immediately think, oh yeah, of course, a secret. And yeah, kinda. The problem with most secrets is they tend to be a little passive, like a dark past, for example. It's hard to make it have an impact on the game. But I think that active lies make NPCs kind of feel like puzzles, and that's way more interesting to play. I think your NPCs need to have something they're currently doing to protect what they want. It's all about it having an impact on their behavior, and this matters a lot because if you give them something like this, you don't have to lore dump it on your players, and they can actually see the secret in action before getting to the bottom of it. That will trigger some actions on their part, and therefore make the NPC feel way more memorable. And so far, the way we set up our example NPC does not really allow us to do this. He has the want and the wound, but they're kind of separate from his merchant identity, which will make it hard to observe. So let's give him a cover. I think the way we do it is we tie those together like this. His trade is completely real and he sells the best blankets in the region. But he has recently changed his suppliers just to justify setting up shop in this specific town because he knows the bandits are close and have the journal. And now you can have the players hearing rumors from those suppliers at the tavern saying that they don't actually understand why they ditched their previous ones, which were better. Or guards saying they couldn't refuse him entry but found it odd that they'd come here because he came from a wealthier region. It makes coming up with a hook much easier and gives more texture to the NPC. We're looking good so far, but we still have 2 more layers to go through before we're done with Mevard. And just before we see what we're still missing, I just wanted to let you know that if you find this stuff useful but don't know where to start, I've actually made something that might interest you. It's called The Living Town. It's a collection of 15 interconnected NPCs with wants, secrets, and store hooks baked in that you can just drag and drop into your campaign. They give you a great starting point and will make your next session even better. So just check out the link in the description. Alright, so we have the core of our NPC, but when the players aren't there, what is he doing? I feel like most of the time, NPCs just basically stop existing when the characters aren't interacting with them. And that's really not like how people work in real life. And of course, NPCs aren't really people, but this contributes to this we don't care feeling we've been trying to solve throughout this video. I think NPCs, just like real people, should always be in the middle of something. You need movement to avoid your game feeling like a film set. So the way you fix this is you have your NPCs already doing something when they encounter the characters. They could be talking to someone, organizing things, writing something. There's a million ways to do it, but this has a massive impact because now when the players walk in, they don't feel like they're just starting a quest, but discovering an area of the world that already had its own independent life. So if we go back to our NPC, right now there are things under the hood, but they're just sitting there waiting to be discovered. So let's give him a bit of momentum. What if about 2 weeks ago, Mevard paid someone to try and locate the bandit camp where he suspects the journal might be, and he hasn't heard from the guy since? Is he dead? Maybe. Or maybe he found the journal, realized what he had, and is currently wondering if he should take it to the clergy to maybe get an even bigger reward. And this is making Mevard nervous. So now, when the players walk into the shop, they find him pacing like a maniac, maybe talking to himself, slightly agitated, and he stops immediately when he sees them. And what I really like about this is it didn't just make the character more interesting, but it also helped build the world. Now we have another NPC, the informant, and he could turn out to be 100 different things. This force idea we mentioned at the start is really starting to take shape, but something is still missing. How do we make sure that we're not just building a beautiful railroad? Because when you keep adding layers to NPCs, they become more defined, which means you risk more to either see the players do something you never planned and become frustrated, or to force them down a specific path, which will be frustrating for them. The way you avoid this and keep everyone at the table happy is you let the players build an ignition point. What is that? Well, let's go back to that aggressively pacing moment. When the players enter the shop and see the NPC just furiously walking by himself, they can react in different ways. Maybe they will become suspicious, or have compassion, or find him funny. Your job is to pay close attention to their reactions in this moment, and to make it shape where the story goes from there. For example, say the players find the pacing quite intense considering their shop is empty, and their brain goes to, "This looks like scheming." And now the way they talk to the NPC is a bit aggressive. Well, you can give them a few clues, lead to the quest, but decide that actually Mevard wants the journal to have some kind of insurance against the clergy and blackmail them. If the players see a lost man trying to put on a brave face when they enter and act accordingly, you can decide that Mevard is being taken advantage of by the informant who wants to betray him, and that the informant is going to become some kind of lower level villain. The point is, the reaction of the players is insight into where the table is at right now, and it gives you ammunition to then take the story in a direction that will feel fun for them and for you, because even though you did plan a few things ahead, you get to modify them on the fly and be surprised by the collaborative aspect of it all. So, are we good then? Well, let's go back to the beginning. Our NPC is still a slightly awkward middle-aged human man who sells blankets and whatnot. So, the shape is still the same, but what's underneath is a lot deeper. He wants something that's costly. He's running from something he can't outrun. He has an active secret. He's in motion, and we have several doors opened, so we know that no matter what the players do, we'll be able to tell a cool story with them. And just like that, we went from boring NPC nobody will ever remember to force, which will generate story and make the world feel alive. Am I saying you absolutely need all 5 layers for every single NPC ever? Of course not. You can definitely pick a few of these elements depending on the type of NPC, its role in the story, etc. Maybe you start with just a name because your players did something you didn't plan. A cool moment happens as a result, and before your next session, you decide to use these steps to give it more depth and make them have a role in the story. You can definitely do that. The result will feel even more organic and memorable. What matters is the direction. You start with a want and build from there. But now that we know how to make amazing NPCs, we have a problem, because even if your NPC has a want, how do we make sure the world around them works as well as they do? I believe the easiest way to make sure it is the case is to build the world, and that you should 100% make your own to become a better DM. So click on this video next to find out how.